Alright, alright. Dito tayo. Seryoso tayo ngayon. Eto na. Eto yung di ba sinasabi nila, yung inflation, deflation. This is how hyperinflation works. Okay? Sabi ko nga, di ba, the collapse of any nation is the collapse of the confidence of its citizens sa government. That's how it happens. Okay? It's not actually the printing of the money. Why? Tingnan nyo, magkano lang bang exchange rate ng Indonesian currency. 'Di ba? In dollars parang 16k per dollar. Imagine niyo imagine niyo 'yun. The collapse, yung collapse is nangyayari because loss of confidence sa government. Ganun yung nangyayari. So, nag-i-start 'yan sa civil unrest. Kapag nagkaroon ng civil unrest, we have a problem. Kasi magkakaroon talaga yan ng effect yan. Okay? Tingnan natin ha.
Welcome to the program. I'm Adrian Finnegan. It began with the police killing of a young motorcycle rider in Jakarta on Friday, but the scale of unrest since has rocked Indonesia. Violence involving police and protesters has spread to other cities, and troops have been deployed on the streets. The sight of fellow motorcycle taxi drivers and their couriers in their uniforms at the funeral struck a chord with the public.
Credit collapse the next, They will burn, ganito mangyayari dyan. Magkakaroon self-fulfilling prophecy yan. Kasi the currency will keep falling down. Magkakaroon talaga ng deep dive yan sa currency. And then, the citizens will just exchange their money to other currencies like the US dollars. Kasi magkakaroon ng underground economy. Ngayon, they will only accept dollars because the currency keeps falling. So, hindi mo alam kung kailan stable yung pera mo or hindi. So, sometimes, yung iba is gagawin is bibili ng gold, right? Kasi pwede mong ibenta siya is naka-spot price naman siya. Pero I wouldn't recommend that kasi you cannot bring your gold sa airport, sa airplane. But makikita mo yung capital flow, makikita mo yung capital flight. Okay? Kasi in any nation na nagkakaroon civil unrest, nauuna yung pera. Pag nagkaroon ka makikita ka ng capital flight from that economy, there's something will happen. Something will happen. Something big. And they can smell it. Kaya mauuna yung pera bago sila. Transfer na muna nila yan. Offshore. And then, the nation will collapse. The problem is, if Indonesia actually collapses, maaring ma-inspire yung mga tao dito, yung mga, mga leftist. Ngayon pa lang ulit sana medyo nakakabawi ang Indonesia na yung currency nila is being recognized again sa global currency trade. Crypto is the purest form of money, sabi nung analyst na, di ba? Rome actually happened yun kaya ko in-explain yung pagkakaiba ng inflation, deflation, stagflation. Okay? Kasi the problem here is, naalala nyo, ginagawa rin sa atin. Dahil doon sa nangyari doon sa mga budget na 2025 budget, blah blah blah. Ano naging solusyon nila? Ng VAT. Nag-increase ngayon ng taxes. 'Di ba? Yung taxation without representation. Okay, lalong ginigipit ngayon yung citizens. Of course, ano sa tingin mo gagawin ng citizens? They will revolt. And some of them, kapag nagkaroon ng civil unrest, they will just abandon their land. It's yours. Bakit? You keep taxing my land, no? To the point na I cannot even pay it. You know what? It's yours. I'm done. That's what happened with Rome. Tinaasan nila yung tax ng sobra to the point that the citizens cannot pay for it na. So the citizens actually abandon their own land.
People like the driver killed are familiar to millions delivering to workplaces and houses across the country, part of the army of casual labour which plays a central but poorly paid role in the economy. Apologies from the President, Prabowo Subianto, have failed to bring calm. So why is there such an eruption of anger? What
Mahirap to.
wider issues are at play? And what will the President and his government do next? We'll try to find out from our guests in just a moment. But first, a report from Joel Evans.
Oh?
Anti-government demonstrators are making their voices heard in Indonesia. Protests spread across the country after 21-year-old Afan Kurawan, a motorcycle taxi driver, was run over and killed by police in Jakarta on Friday.
Shit. Baka may double passport na. Malamang. Yung mga politicians, double passport na yan. Civil unrest, yeah. Sabi nga nila, di ba? The stupid protest. The smart leaves.
That he was a casual labourer in a low-paid job ignited fury, the demonstrators rallying against the cost of living and the lack of jobs, as well as police violence and alleged political corruption.
Sangat miris hati kami.
We're very disappointed in all law enforcement agencies, especially the police chief.
Kayo, anong Gcash mo? May pinadeliver ako na snacks na Presko cash and payment. Ha, baka sabihin mo it's a prank. Kailan mo ginawa yan? Ngayon lang? Ngayon mo lang ginawa? Oh, PPM ko sa'yo. Ka, gagawin mo pa akong ano pag-aabonohin mo pa ako sa pagkain ko Huwag mo pag-aabonohin sa pagkain ko. Naula, wag mo, grabe ka. Pag-aabonohin mo ako sa pagkain ko. Napakasama na ugali mo, achi. Huwag mo akong pag-abunuhin sa pagkain ko. Wag ganon. Hindi magandang tingnan. Ayun na, sinend ko na. Piniem ko na.
Please pay attention to this. Drivers are also human, as well as commoners, as said by our lawmakers. We're very sad that one was killed, and we all felt it.
Jakarta's police chief has apologised for the death and promised a full investigation. 7 officers were found to have violated the police code of ethics.
Oh, Machiavellian nga tagalawan pa nito.
The president paid his respects to the family and attended the funeral.
Saya atas nama pribadi
On behalf of myself and the Indonesian government, I would like to express my deepest condolences and sympathy. I am deeply concerned and saddened by this incident.
Sure. Sure. Sure.
There's been outrage too at revelations that members of parliament are getting a housing allowance worth more than $3,000 a month.
By this incident,
There's been outrage too at revelations that members of parliament are getting a housing allowance worth more than $3,000 a month.
Hindi ba ganito rin yung eksenang ginagawa ni House Speaker? Di ba sinabi ko na sa inyo, they're trying to create a civil unrest? They're playing with fire. Ayan na. May nag-send na sa akin. Tumubo pa ako. Ganun talaga. Huwag mo akong pagkaabonoin sa pagkain ko. Kailangan lang ako, pwede lang ako tumubo. Hindi ako pwede mag-abono. Ganun yun na, Chi. Ano ba naman? Ayusin mo nga buhay mo. Thank you, Chi. Ano ba yan? May tatawag ba sa akin? In everyone wants parliament. Parang nasayang yung ginawa ni President Joe. Oh, actually. Oo, parang ganun nangyari. Nasayang talaga. They're trying to create. Diba? Itong house.
On top of their salaries. That's 10 times the minimum wage in Jakarta. Many Indonesians see politicians as part of a corrupt elite.
O yan. Yagi. Kapag sabi ko naman sa inyo, 'di ba? The only reason we actually agree like sa Supreme Court, 'di ba? Kasi kaya nga sinisira nila yung Supreme Court, 'di ba? Kasi yan yung last last defense na titingnan ng citizens na last resort. So, if you actually destroy that, kasi the only reason we actually agree or we follow the Supreme Court is because we agreed to follow the Supreme Court. Pero once we surrendered that kind of agreement, and I did not sign up for that. Boom. The will of the people will reign supreme. And we don't like that. To be honest, I agree with Socrates right now. At this point in time, I don't want democracy. Guys, okay? These people are driven by emotion right now. At this point, I don't want them to vote for anything. I don't want democracy at this point. Yan kasi ang problema. Corruption is okay as long as everyone is fat and happy. But if the economy is turned down, blood on the streets. Yan ang problema. Corruption is ignored because everyone is fat and happy. But now, may problema sa economy, may problema sa jobs, may problema on how people survive. You're turning down the economy, you're adding taxes. There will be blood on the streets. Kaya be careful na magdagdag ng tax. That's the same mistake happened sa EDSA. We remove the villain, then comes more villain. Sa Pinas, flood on the streets. Flood for blood nga daw eh. Sinahawling nag-hashtag ng ganun.
As well as the capital, protests have been held in Jawa Barat, Surakarta, Bandang, Lombok, and Medan.
Gagi, hindi ganito yung view ng yung mga makabayan black lang yung nakikita natin. Right? Hindi ito yun. This is different, dude. This one is a legitimate one. Hindi ito yung mga makabayan black tsaka yung mga nauuto dun sa mga universities. This is different. These are not the students anymore. These are the working class now. This is dangerous. Like Sri Lanka.
Troops have joined police on the street,
It's happened in HK.
using tear gas and water cannons to disperse crowds.
Shit!
In Mukasa, in South Sulawesi province, demonstrators set fire to a regional parliament building, killing
Regional Parliament building, sinunog nila? Di lang students, there's even middle-aged parents, brooms hitting the police. They say, burning government offices. This is something else. These guys are really angry, dude.
several people.
Oh, mandaming dilawan din to, no? Nakaabot. Ikaw pa naman ang bigyan ng tax sa 400% at sa ibang region 1,000%. Medyo gagawin lalanan nito. Tingnan mo, ang daming dilawan, no?
Protest organizers say they want MP salaries cut and increased to the minimum wage in line with inflation and accountability for alleged crimes committed by police and politicians.
Yari talaga ang Pinas kapag darating tayo sa punto na yan. Dapat na kasi aksyonan niyang militar kung sino man kapangyarihan. Kaya we shouldn't, guys, please, we shouldn't tolerate this kind of action, okay? Let's try to persuade them not to do this, okay? They don't know what they're doing. We will suffer for decades because of this. Sabi nga ni VP Sara, mag-hire kayo ng assassin. De, joke lang. joke lang. Naalala ko lang kasi yung sinabi ni VP Sara eh. Let's try to persuade them not to do this. Okay? Napakahirap nito. All throughout sa history, they suffer talaga. Mas okay na mag-amok sa internet, wag lang sa kalsada. Correct. Mas okay na sa internet na lang sila magbigay ng labas ng sama ng loob kaysa sa kalsada. So ngayon, kailangan natin medyo maluwag kapag may mga tao nang babash, mob mentality sa internet, we have to be more tolerant now, okay? Kaysa they bring it to the streets. Okay?
I pay all my taxes. I'm a tax-compliant citizen. But I don't know who my taxes are going to. The people...
Ganyan din yung sinasabi ngayon. Di ba ganyan din sinasabi kay Marcoleta? Pantangin natin.
Mr. Chair, may I request the press.
Makontem ka. So, nakakasiguro ka na hindi ka nakakuha. Do that. Otherwise,
Hello? Hello? Michael? Oo. Dito sa katabi ng DDMP Food House. Saan ka na ba? Hindi. Gagi, ba't gano'n siya magsalita? Hello? Michael? Tropa mo? Kikita mo, sino ba yung pinagpadalan mo? Ba't ganun ako kausapin nun? Parang mas lalaki pa kay Gay Biden. Game. Dito yun.
Sinungaling ka dito. Kasi malalaman naman, unfair
Senator
tayo.
Dolpo, maigsi lang. Maigsi lang. Ha?
Di ba, Mr.
Can issue the law
What I
today.
said, kapabayaang out of control, bastusan na po ito. Na
Ang kinapupuntahan,
Ito.
reserve, sir, are being received occasion, geotag. Alam mo nangyayari on the ground because it's being updated by your project engineers on the ground. Anytime, you don't have to go there.
Honor, Mr. Chair,
Ghost projects, if this PCMA
Salamat, Notsky.
is working. Tama naman eh. Tingnan mo. There is now occasion. Paano nangyayari po? Up to what extent the liability may affect the resident man lang being reserved, sir, are being mga taong sinasabi nila almost
to.
every day. Alam mo kung anong mga taong sinasabi nila sa akin. Nakikita po namin, sabi niya, kung paano winawaldas ang pera ng bayan. At napapatunayan po namin araw-araw, lalo na po pag nakikinig kayo kami sa hearing ninyo. Kami po pawis dugo ang puhunan namin dito. Lalong-lalo na po kami na...
Salamat,
Pero ganito
Fernando
po bang
Guerrero.
kinapupuntahan ng aming bis na binibigay?
Shit.
Pwede po ba, kanya, Senator, pwede bang mag-request sa'yo? Pakikita ko sa iyo ang mga text messages mamaya para sabihin ko lang sa iyo na totoong sinasabi ko. Pwede bang ilaban nyo kami na next year wag muna kaming magbayad ng buwis? Sapagkat ito palang kinapupuntahan. What do you think I should tell them? Can you help me provide an answer to these people? Mr. BIR, kung nandiyan ka pa po. Can you help me tell them kung anong dapat kong sabihin sa kanila? Their observation is valid. Pera po nila ito eh. Ganito po ang kinapupuntahan eh. What will I tell them? Yes, ma'am. Baka gusto mo sumagot.
Tama po kayo, Your Honor.
Hindi yun tama.
I'm asking you to help me.
Exactly.
What will I tell them? Ito pa po yung sinasabi ng iba. Bakit po ngayon lang nalaman? Abuti po ang presidente nalaman niya after 3 years. Ganito na po palang nangyayari.
Oh, di ba? Ito rin yan.
Inside the House compliant citizen, but I don't know who my taxes are going to. The people inside the House of Representatives building don't listen to the complaints of their own people at all.
It's the big
Hello? Sige. Wait lang. Wait lang, guys.
Pansin ko lang pre, Malagi kang nakalawit, dila mo parang laging may hinahabol na kilig. Wala namang ice cream pero andyan ka sa gilid. Pahaba ng pahaba, kala mo may sinisilip. Kahit saan, kahit kailan, may nakadungaw. Parang radar mo pre, lagi kang nakabantay. Kumikinang pa, parang handa sa laban. Hulaan ko, may iniisip ka na naman. Dila mo pre, ang likod parang may sariling buhay. Kakakurap ko lang, nandyan ka na naman sa likod ko, abay. Pahaba pa ikot, parang may sariling plano. Pero kita ko na pre, kita ko na ang balak mo. Minsan pa nga pre, kahit di ka pa kumakain, dila mo'y lumalabas na parang may gustong gawin. Napapahagod sa labi na parang may ini-imagine. Pre, ayusin mo, baka masampal ka niyang biglain. Kahit saan, kahit kailan, may nakadungaw. Parang radar mo pre, lagi kang nakabantay. Kumikinang pa, parang handa sa laban. Hulaan ko, may iniisip ka na naman. Dila mo pre, ang likod parang may sariling buhay. Kakakurap ko lang, nandyan ka na naman sa likod ko, abay. Pahaba pa ikot, parang may sariling plano. Pero kita ko na pre, kita ko na ang balak mo. Iba na to pre, wag kang masyadong gigil. Kasi baka mamaya matadyakan ka sa gilid. Dila mo pre, mukhang may sariling isip. Mag-ingat ka lang, baka malagot ka biglit. O pre, relax lang, wag masyadong dumila. Hindi lahat ng bagay pwede mong dilaan bigla. Kasi pre, pag ganyan ka palagi, baka magising ka na lang, nasa emergen naman. Dila mo pre, ang likod parang may sariling buhay. Kakakurap ko lang, nandyan ka na naman sa likod ko, abay. Pahaba pa ikot, parang may sariling plano. Pero kita ko na pre, kita ko na ang balak mo. Dila mo pre, ang likod parang may sariling buhay. Kakakurap ko lang, nandyan ka na naman sa likod ko, abay. Pahaba pa ikot, parang may sariling plano. Pero kita ko na pre, kita ko na ang balak mo. Manyak, manyak, manyak ka pre. Manyak, manyak, manyak ka pre. Manyak, manyak, manyak ka pre. Manyak, manyak, manyak ka pre.
Yan, ganyan dapat. Oh. McDo. O di 772 yung bill. Binigyan ko tip. O di ako sikat. May 200 pa akong tinubo. Tama? Ganon talaga buhay. Ano ba to? Diba? Ako yung sikat. Ako yung credit grabber. Sa akin yung credit. Sa akin siya nagpasalamat eh. Ako yung nagbayad, di ba? Oh. Hanggang 772. I'll give you 800, dude. Di ba? Salamat, Achi. Ano ba to? Grabe, ang dami ito ha. O sige, tuloy. Nuggets. Chicken. Lagi, mukbang to. Sige, sige. Oras ng hindi pagkain, Sir Mickey. Have consideration on us. Sino sabi sa inyo? Ilang beses ko ba sabihin sa inyo wala akong pake? I'm here for myself. Para kang congressman ngayon kayo. Hindi sa'yo galing pero sa'yo credit. Babae pala talaga yung nag-deliver. Ang tapang din, no? Nag-deliver dito yung babaeng yon. Tingnan ako, ganyan ako. Parang namukhang pa nga ako eh. Ganoon siya, oh. Dalawang tingin siya eh. Di ba, pagka ganun, senyalis yun na parang kilala ko to. Parang ganun, di ba? Pero hindi ko sa kanila. Famous lang talaga ako. Nagdalawang tingin kasi siyang ganon. Ganon. Gumanon siya. Sabi ko, ay kilala ako dito. O yun. Baka nanonood yun ngayon. O, press 1 kung ikaw yung nag-deliver kanina. Press 1. O. Let's go, let's go.
Biggest crisis yet. Listen to the complaints they're going to. The people inside the House of Representatives building don't listen to the complaints of their own people at all.
It's the biggest crisis yet for President Prabowo Subianto, who took office in October. In a video posted online, he appealed for calm and urged people to trust the government.
Hindi mo na mapapakalm yan. Bakit? Ano ka ba? Ang initiator niyan is nag-spark lang, nakakuha yan ng mga citizens na legit, tapos lalo pang anuhan niya ng mga kalaban sa politika. Kaya katulad ng mga leftist dito, katulad ng mga NPA na yan, gagawin nila yan. Mag-blend in sila, tapos lalo nilang guguluhin, nila ng gasolina. Malabo yan, may hirapan kayo dyan. Mag-martialo talaga kayo dyan, mga pare. Sarap ng libre. Salamat ulit, Atsi. Sarap ng libre, gagi. Tamis.
Government and his leadership. A call that so far seems to have fallen on deaf ears, with anger at economic difficulties.
Sobrang popular ni Mike. Binato kami sa 7-Eleven. Dati yon. Di pa ako popular nun.
And inequality showing no sign of easing.
Wala
Joel
talaga.
Evans, Al Jazeera, for Inside Story.
So
wala talaga yan. Hindi mo talaga makokontrol yan. Mag-create ka, mag-martial law ka talaga dyan. G ka na tapos may magsasabi sa'yo, wait, kalma lang. Sabi niya, kalma lang! Tuloy! Tuloy yan pa kayo kay baka! Mga korap yan! O, anong gagawin? Martial law is more dangerous. Referendum na lang yan. Ano yung referendum nila? Well, may demands naman sila, di ba? Kaso hindi yan matapos sa demanda ngayon eh. Naniniwala ka ba, Paps Chulo, matapos yung sa demanda ganon? Itataas yung minimum wage? Sa ng inflation? One watching from Dubai. Naniniwala ka? Titigil yung referendum? Ikaw naman.
who is Prabowo Subianto? Well, he was a former general in the Indonesian military, serving in the campaigns in East Timor.
Former general served in East Timor. Oh.
And in West Papua, where the military was accused of war crimes and human rights abuses.
Yan, magtitiwala sa'yo? You're a military man? Hindi, baba ka na lang. Baba ka na lang.
Prabowo was never prosecuted, but was banned for a time from entering the US over the allegations. He moved into business and politics after being discharged honorably from the military in 1998. He campaigned unsuccessfully for the presidency twice and served as defense minister between 2019 and 2024. Prabowo was finally successful last year and became Indonesia's 8th president, but critics say that he ran a sanitized campaign using social media to promote a fatherly image.
Nope. Parang sort of political reset lang noong EDSA sa atin. Paglalagay sila ng symbolic president. Yeah, tapos magbaguhin yung ano, constitution. May constitution ba ang ano? Wala yata constitution ng Indonesia. Meron ba? Tingnan natin. Meron pala. Meron. 1945. Amendments, major amendments were made between 1999 and 2002. Nagkaroon ng ano, amendment. Okay. Meron.
Earlier, we're joined by Abigail Unpack, Professor of Asian Adewena. Tell us and why, to what extent was the death of Afan Kuniawan the last straw for people in Indonesia?
Yeah,
Kasi napaka ano nun eh, napaka walang kinalaman eh, 'di ba? As in talagang hindi siya kasama doon, nag-deliver lang siya, tapos namatay. Kasi doon, magiging last straw talaga 'yon.
This anger definitely did not happen overnight. It's been going on. It's been building for months. And some may even argue for years. And it's all because of both economic and political frustration. As we know, Indonesia is not in a good shape economically. It is worsening. We're experiencing sort of a collapsing job market as well, where thousands has been laid off, and there's a lot of
Minilagay si Achi.
unemployment. And instead of a helpful and compassionate response from their leaders, these people are continuously met with policy that worsen the situation. For example, an increase in tax.
There it is. I told you guys. Increase in tax. That's not how you respond to hindaing ng mga tao. You don't respond with tax. Yun yung ginawa sa atin ni Recto, di ba? Sige, push nyo pa. Sige, kaya nyo yan.
That were attempted multiple times. And not only that, they were also met with indifference or even mocking and tone-deaf responses from their representative, people who are supposed to be representing their voices. And so it's not so much as the economic struggle. I feel like people are more angry at the arrogancy that they receive, and they are just fed up with being...
Is that even a word? Arrogancy? Baka arrogance lang.
treated that way.
The president, as we said, apologized, appealed for calm, asked people...
Walang kwento yung apologize na yan. Which already happened to us. Tapos revelations about flood control projects. Kaya nga yung ito yung sinabi kay ito sa Blue Ribbon. Ito. Matalas to.
Pera po nila ito eh. Ganito.
No?
Pwede bang lalong-lalo na po kami na ng bayan. At napapatunayan po namin araw-araw, lalo na po pag nakikinig kayo kami sa hearing ninyo. Kami po pawis dugo ang puhunan namin dito. Lalong-lalo na po kami na nasa mababa lang ang kalagayan. Pinipilit naming magbayad ng buwis. Pero ganito po bang kinapupuntahan ng aming buwis na binibigay? Pwede po ba, kanya, Senator, pwede bang mag-request pakikita ko sa iyo ang mga text messages mamaya para sabihin ko lang sa iyo na totoong sinasabi ko. Pwede bang ilaban nyo kami na next year wag muna kaming magbayad ng buwis? Sapagkat ito palang kinapupuntahan. What do you think I should tell them? Can you help me provide an answer to these people? Mr. BIR, kung nandiyan ka pa po. Can you help me tell them kung anong dapat kong sabihin sa kanila? Their observation is valid.
Kung tutuusin, mas grabe pa ang corruption dito sa Pinas compared to sa Indonesia. Actually, kung titignan natin, mas matindi dito. Iba lang talaga yung doon. Siguro the culture is different as well. Wala naman pumipilit magbayad ng buwis. It is automatic on us, Mr. Senator.
Pera po nila ito eh. Ganito po ang kinapupuntahan eh. What will I tell them?
Di ba? What will I tell them?
To trust the government and his leadership. Can they be trusted?
Well, he may have said that, but more recently he has instructed the chiefs of the police forces and the military forces to respond decisively to the public unrest, saying that the unrest has caused a lot of damage to public infrastructure.
Yeah, pag sinabi mong decisively, I mean, ako as a militar, when you actually tell me, act decisively on the public unrest, because they're damaging ano, I would think that what you mean by this decisively is whether any means necessary, right? I can go both ways. I know that. I'm gonna do a Tore shit on you, dude.
Structure. So I think we may be seeing a shift from the rhetoric of let's everybody work together to keep the calm to one where they might be moving towards more repressive policies.
Okay. Wiria, at the end of last year, Amnesty issued a report calling for Indonesian police to be held accountable for, quote, repeated use of force against people.
Nag-people power tayo sa barya-baryang kinurakot, pero tahimik tayo sa trilyon-trilyon nagwawala ng kaban. Ngayon pa ba tayo mapapagod? Hoy! Hindi mo ba narinig yung sinabi ko? Ano ngayon pa ba tayo mapapagod? Mag-isa ka. Hindi ka ba nakikinig? Bingi ka ba?
Peaceful protesters. How much of a problem is police brutality in Indonesia?
Well, that's just the thing. That report is not the first time that we had actually published a call for structural reform in the body of the police in Indonesia. We had a full-length report in 2016. We published a report in 2020 where we monitored various incidents of police excessive use of force when they use batons, tear gases, water cannons improperly against protesters. We published another one in 2022. We published another one in 2024. It seems to me that most of the things that Amnesty International Indonesia is doing is just watching the police, because so many human rights violations are conducted by police when they are facing demonstrators. And building on what Vedi has just mentioned, it is increasingly concerning because now the military is coming into the picture as well. And we know that military forces are...
Tamo, naalala ko tuloy yung ano kanina eh. Yung balita kanina eh. Kasi nag-aalala rin yung stock market. Kasi, they're trying to revive the stock market yun sa atin. No, kasi downtrend talaga eh. Downtrend talaga. They're trying to, to revive it. Hindi ko alam kung paano nila gagawin yun, pero, okay.
not suited for law enforcement duties. It is unthinkable to see that the president, instead of trying to de-escalate situations, he seems to double down. It is simply unwise, I think irresponsible, and the president should have started with an actual apology that is followed by a clear, concrete action plans in which he outlined series of policies to reform the...
That is true. Dapat ganun talaga yung ginawa niya. Yung apology, wala lang yun eh. Kailangan nga nila ng solusyon eh. Kung ang gagawin mo lang is magsasorry ka lang publicly, tapos ikaw rin at the same time na nagsasabi sa militar or sa police na act decisively, you're bullshitting us, dude.
police to ensure that such things are not happen again. He didn't do that. Instead, he bring the big guns into the foray.
Abigail, people are obviously very angry. What do they want from their president and politicians? Policy reform, structural
Their blood.
changes to governance, dialogue? And do the protesters have a united aim? I mean, some form of cohesion. At the moment, as we said, there's a lot of anger on the streets, but do the protesters have a cohesive mission?
Yeah, I think the protesters definitely have a cohesive demand. And amongst other things, the demands is for first the state budget to be used more efficiently for programs that actually matter and not
Patay, mahirap yan. Mahirap patunayan, gagi.
wasted on lavish benefit for the representative, and that for the state budget to have more transparency and so into what they are being used for. And they also ask for the representative, for those who have been mocking the people or who has been saying ridiculous things to be let go from the House of Representatives, and so that the representative actually represent the people, and not just elites who say whatever they want. And I think thirdly, obviously, so that the police officers who are responsible for the death of the young motorcycle driver to be held fully accountable and to receive full justice, and so that there are also some reform in the police department.
Betty, what's gone wrong with democracy in Indonesia?
Do they have democracy? I don't think so.
Well, the problem is that a lot of things went wrong with it from its earliest inception. If you will allow me a few seconds on this, when Suharto fell in 1998, a lot of people thought that okay, we'll have all the nice things now, democracy, human rights, and all of that. But it's not as simple as that. The old forces that were nurtured under Suharto, the old politico-bureaucratic business alliances, simply regrouped and they reinvented themselves as democrats and reformers, and they took over the political parties and the parliaments and the various other institutions of political and economic.
Hindi ko gusto yung mga sinasabi mo. Parang gusto mong ituloy nila yung ginagawa nila, pre. No? Isa ka rin eh. Sige.
Governance. And the reason that they've done this really is that these institutions, as they had been under authoritarianism, under democracy, still basically serves to allow these oligarchic elites to take control of institutions of the states, the authority that they have and their resources for the purposes of their own private enrichment. And this is why you see that the gap between rich and poor has been increasing.
Ito na naman sa class warfare na to.
That there's a great deal of distance between those in power and the people who are ruled, and why there's a great deal of animosity towards the rulers from the ruled.
Okay. Ito yan. Bakit sa tingin nyo, kasama sa ethical code ng public servants, yung live modestly? Ano yung lavish lifestyle? Ito yung iniiwasan dun. That's the idea. Kasi, in that sense, you actually close the gap between the rich and the poor. Kasi, if you keep displaying lavish lifestyle, lalo mong pini-expand yung gap na yon. Gets nyo? Kaya nga pinagbawal yon. Bakit? Kasi the point of public servant is to actually close the gap between the public servant or the rich and the poor. That's the point of it. Ngayon, kapag na-perceive ng mga tao na, putya, ang yayaman nyo, tingnan nyo naman kami. Tapos, hayop kayo, ninanakaw nyo lang pala sa amin yan. What will happen? Oh yeah. They will ask for your blood. kumaganto, no? Kumaganto, makikita mo talaga sa mga taong na tama yung moral compass at hindi. A person in his right mind, na public servant, will see that ethical code as good for himself. Yung sa taong tabingi, yung moral compass, they will look at that ethical code as controlling and restraining me. Do you see the difference? Walang pagkakaiba yan sa mga Christians. The Ten Commandments, those people na not really Christians, they will see the law as controlling and then restraining them in the sense of they hate it. But a real Christian would see the law, katulad na sinabi ni Apostle Paul, that the law is good for me. That's why I uphold the law. Because you look at the law and you realize how sinful you are, and then you realize also that the law is good for you. It's not actually trying to control you. It's not really trying to destroy you. It's trying to guide you. This is why Jesse Robredo is very appealing to the masses. Public servant tayo, nagpapasweldo, then makikita natin lavish ang pamumuhay, then tayo naghihirap, wala ka tipid off topic, ang bagal mong kumain. Sinalasap-lasap ko yung, mabilis ka kumain? Sinalasap-lasap ko yung libre, ano ka? Isipin mo, may pagkain ka na, tapos kumita ka pa. I want the job. Where do I apply? Where do I sign? Pero yun yung point, di ba? Etong mga taong to, yung ethical code sa lavish lifestyle, na live modestly, they look at that as parang controlling them. It's restraining them na they hate that. Kasi they want to display it. Hindi nila naiintindihan. Mas may credit ka pa, yes. Sikat pa ako dun sa nag-deliver. Ang hindi nila naiintindihan, that rule is for you. We're not trying to control you. We're not trying to parang ito tungkol sa clothing, ganun lang din. It is good for you. Magkano ang hiningi mo kay Kayo, Achi? Tingnan mo, Kimbo, na-expose masyado sa DDS yung mga branded na nagamit ang lifestyle, ayun, olat ng eleksyon, di ba? Yun nga yung point nun eh. Kasi gusto mo nga i-close yung gap ng poor and ng rich. Ikaw, malalaman nila pagpasok mo sa politics, mahirap ka naman. Paglabas mo, ang yaman mo na. O sino ba naman hindi magagalit? Sino ba naman hindi magdududa? That's why you don't display it. Pero bakit ko ba sabihin sa'yo? alam mo yun, may paradox eh. Bakit ka makikinig sa akin ay corrupt ka nga? Di-display mo pa rin. Di ba? Tama si Socrates eh. Di ba? Justice is useless when it's useful. It is useful when it's useless. Tama siya talaga eh. Tama nga naman. O di wala rin yung sinasabi ko sa'yo. Corrupt ka nga eh. Di ba? Gets mo? Corrupt ka nga eh. Kahit anong paliwanag ko sa'yo, you wouldn't give a shit. Corrupt ka nga kasi kaya corrupt ka nga tapos susundin mo pa yun. Di ba? Gets mo rin eh.
So, what did the president mean when he urged the public to be vigilant against, quote, elements that always want to cause unrest and chaos? Could the current unrest be working to anyone's benefit politically in Indonesia? Might there be parties in whose interest it is for this to escalate?
Okay, 2 points. One is that that sort of statement talking about sort of behind the scenes actors, and often they point to supposedly foreign actors, is taken from the old playbook of Suharto, the old dictator. He used to say that all the time. Whenever
Pwede ang local, pero international, malabo.
there was any public unrest, he'll say that there's some foreign
China, sabihin China, no? China, oh. US, gano'n.
interest behind it, and that is something that politicians and generals continue to say in Indonesia. But that does not mean that no matter how genuine and organic the grievances of the people are, that elites may not take advantage of them for their own purposes. And we do know that there has been intensification, at least behind the scenes, between different factions of the elites, which now, I think, are vying to try to steer the unrest in a direction that might be useful for their purposes.
Weary, I show you both nodding and in agreement and shaking your head at one point. Do you want to come in?
Yun lang. Hello, Esteo.
Yeah, definitely, because I am in full agreement with Vedi in the sense that I am also shocked in how uncreative the current government is. They've been
Ininsulto mo pa? Ah!
specters of new order into the current era. Indeed, the current president has been echoing Suharto's old playbook in calling legitimate criticisms against his government as foreign-funded, corruptor-backed, or only trying to sow chaos and disorder. And what
Itsura pa lang eh. Pasensya ka na, ano ha? Pasensya ka na ha? Itsura mo pa lang, mukhang buhaya ka na eh. Ay, sorry.
we are seeing
Di pa pala ako nagko-comment dapat sa presidente ng ibang lugar. Pero sabi ko na eh, wala na
is
akong
how
magagawa.
the government seems to be more focused, more interested really
Di ba abogado ni Lima Batancia?
to frame legitimate and peaceful criticisms as internal enemy, as internal threat. It will seem to me that the government is more interested in ensuring that they have full control of the narratives, full control of the protests, instead of addressing the real and true concerns that the people have.
Oh, picture.
It is something
Video,
that really concerning if we look at how just recently the government passed the army law as well, in which the government managed to quietly, creepingly push the army back
Parang tambi din hubog, oh.
into civilian lives, where army now has more control, more presence really in civilian government. So I guess it is what it is. We're looking at not only a responsible government in the way that they are doubling down on protests, we are also looking at how they are uncreative in bringing back old playbooks.
Mahihirapan siya dito kasi yung image niya and then yung background niya, mahihirapan siya talaga dito. At this point kasi, they spoke good English but sounded like a woman. Loko-loko kasi binago ko yung pitch. Oh, tanggal natin yung ano. Ito pintasero ka, pati yung boses pintasan mo. 'Di ba? Issue hindi boses, ito yung boses niya talaga, oo.
Abigail, what are your thoughts on what both Veri and
Where army now has more control, more presence.
Oh, di ba? Ito si Kevin. Oh, anyway, yun. Nakakalungkot lang to. Mukhang lalala to. Lalala to. Kasi yung background niya di ba? Yung background niya, military, tapos meron siyang ganun sa human rights, gagamitin at gagamitin yan against sa kanya. Tapos yun nangyari, sorry lang siya, wala naman siyang ginawang steps to actually solve the problem, di ba? Hay! Sana lang talaga wag mangyari sa Pilipinas. Wag lang sana mangyari sa Pilipinas. Oh, magiging pro-China akong bigla. Madali ba pumunta doon? Hindi, wag na lang. Sa ano na lang ako. Sa maganda. TNT na lang ako sa Japan. Kaso hindi ako marunong mag-Japanese. Sana wag naman sa Pinas. Sana nga wag naman sa Pinas. Yun kinakatakot ko dati nung dinala si Duterte sa Hague. Pasawayin lang natin yung mga nagsasabi niya katulad niyan ni sino yung kanina? Oh, God bless inyong lahat. Ay! Salamat ulit ha. Ubusin ko pa tong nuggets dito tsaka may chicken pa dito. Dalawang nuggets dito eh. Ubusin ko pa. Salamat Tachi ah! Ha? Susunod, sobrahan mo. God bless inyong lahat. Bye-bye.